And we're live. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, hello guys. We start our weekly GraphQL sync up. I share agenda. And as usually, pretty short from my side. Firstly, during last week, we had a contribution day at Column. It was absolutely great, a couple of days. Thank you guys, thank you Brandon for hosting. And in scope of this contribution days, we worked on wish list, on send email friend logic, and some technical stuff. But today is holiday in Cologne, and most of guys are offline. I see only Tobias here. So these guys join us next demo and demonstrate this pull request. Also, during last week, we created a few, another pull request was created. We created like add configurable product to cart and manage stored payment methods, but these pull requests are still under review. And next update from my side, tomorrow we will have contribution day at Magento Kyiv office. We expect about 60 contributors, so it looks will be very, very hot day. And after this event, we will have focus on processing of this pull request. Because you see now we have a lot of pull requests under review, and after tomorrow this count will be increased, and a few next weeks we will have big focus on merging and processing all of these pull requests. So I think that's all from my side. And our next presenter is Vitaly Boiko. He will share updates related to GraphQL shipping address coverage.
Thank you, Valery. Hi, guys. So it has been past a lot of time since we had a conversation about my topic last time. So I will briefly, in general, remind what I am trying to do. So here we have mutations on quote, and I managed to implement set shipping address on cart mutation. So under this mutation, we have set shipping address on cart input. So, and here I've changed one thing since last time. I've added a new input. It's a shipping address input. I did it in order to have a convenient way to figure out if we have a single shipping or multi-shipping, because when we will pass more than one address, will be used multi-shipping flow. So let's go back to the schema. Shipping address input will contain customer address ID and address, but it's gonna be useful for single shipping flow. Let's show you how it will be used in single shipping. So here we have set address method, and we will check if we have any of these inputs or inputs. If you have address ID or address input, or also we will check if we not define both of them, because we need to have one for one address. To figure out if address new or its address has been gotten from customer address book. So, but then there is no, I would say, some big changes. It's way mostly the same like in REST API. let's I will show you multi-shipping way. So here you should figure out if multi-shipping multi-shipping can be used only for logged in customers. So first of all, we check it, and then for each address we will create some array with specific structure which will be used by multi-shipping model for assigning the addresses. Let's show you mapper. So here we will convert our input into a specific array, and then we will process this in the multi-shipping model. But I have here one question. Is it okay if we? I'm sorry. This shipping multi-shipping model working with session, but as far as I know, we should avoid this. Is it okay?
Yeah, actually, we are not supposed to work with session. But we
Yeah.
can discuss it maybe afterwards, how we can avoid it.
Okay. Okay. And I have other one question. How can I move this output to another place? Because I've tried to create new resolver. Let's see. Sorry. New resolver here, but system not. I can stop debuggers there, so I don't know why there is some, I don't know, restriction or something like that. Alex, can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand.
Is it possible to pass it to some separate resolver for now in out of box?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? What are you trying to pass to separate resolver?
I would like to pass output. This output separate to another resolver, and can handle it for now.
Yeah, you can do it, but you have to create a chain of resolvers. So let's say you cannot assign resolver on type. Like where exactly you're trying to create this resolver, declare this resolver?
Here on output, for example. Yeah.
Like on which line?
On this.
On line 66? No, you cannot do that. You cannot do it for type. You can do it only for fields. And this was actually one of potential options. Yeah. You can do it on field, and then you have to do it on like parent field as well. You have to have custom resolver on parent field.
Okay.
But it's not possible on type. So and why it's not possible on type? Because you can reuse the same type potentially for different use cases and for different entities. And then there is no way to know how to fetch data for that specific entity.
Okay.
Because usually when you resolve a specific entity, you know where to fetch its fields, and that's why it makes sense to put resolver on the field, but not on the type.
So you can create a new resolver for addresses, for example. Field.
Yes, you have to create basically like top down. You have to create resolver for each field until you get to the field which you try to like resolve, like this cart ID or cart. I mean, I'm just not sure how exactly this field is used on top, but you need to have chain resolvers. You cannot just have a resolver on type.
Okay, great, clear so far, and this is it for now.
Yeah, and if it doesn't work, just ping me and we can figure out how to do it. Okay.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks.
Vitaly. I think we can continue work on this tomorrow on contribution day at Kyiv. So see you tomorrow and we will try to make this together. Okay, next our presenter is Tobias from Cologne. Looks like there's only one guy who is not on holiday.
Yeah, thank you. I'm actually working in Berlin and we don't have this public holiday. So we are all working, the colleagues in Cologne, they are not. So let me share my screen. Share. Okay, tell me when you see it shared. Now.
Yes, we see.
Yeah, okay. So as you mentioned, I was dealing with this send email module. In the front end, it looks like this. You're on the product detail page, and then you're just pressing this email button here. And then you can recommend this product to a list of friends by filling out that form. And I have implemented a simple resolver who's doing the basic logic that the module was doing before. And here's one to-do left. Yeah, we need to clarify if it makes sense to dispatch this event or not. And yeah, basically it does the same logic. And the only thing that's missing was the testing. And I can show you quickly how it looks like. We have here different input fields. We need to specify which product ID it is. And yes, then if we send it, we should get some data back, like so. And then we should also see an email dispatched. If I can open it. Yeah. So there were two recipients and both received now this standard email. That's it basically. If you have any questions.
Yeah, can you clarify again what your question about the event is? What kind of is it a standard like send email event, or is it something more generic?
Yep. Let's have a look. So it should be this event here.
So it is it's a send product to a friend. So it's an event specific to sending this product to a friend, right? Like specific to emailing this product.
Yep, looks like.
Yeah. Anyway, I think my recommendation would be to fire this event. If this is called via GraphQL API, then I think the event should be fired.
Do you agree, Valerie? Because I think we wanted still to talk about it, because I'm not sure if it's necessary or not. My suggestion was, I think, to fire it because we don't know if some business logic relies already on it or not.
I said it's not clear question. Generally looks like we need to fire this event because if somebody create extension and depends on this event, we also need to fire this event.
Yeah, we had issues with REST previously. We've had some experience where, when you have REST calls that do the same thing as somebody, an admin pressing a button in the UI in the Magento admin panel, and then basically the expectation is for the system to behave in the exact same way as when you do something via the UI. So in this case, this should be equivalent to someone filling out the form and pressing the send button to share with a friend. So if the event fires in that case, it should be fired in this case as well.
Yeah, makes sense. That's it from my part. I will then just push it again.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. Thank you, Tobias. And our final presenter for today is Valentin, who is continuing work with us after contribution day at Romania at Cluj.
So, hello guys, do you hear me fine?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, cool. So for today, I'm gonna talk about the GraphQL implementation for product page, for product page reviews. I mean, and we have here the type. The query for getting product reviews and a mutation for creating product reviews. So basically, I'm just gonna go with the main idea of this because I had a call with Alex this week, and we kind of need to. I kind of need to refactor everything because it needs to have a bit more sense. The implementation. So here on the product reviews query, we have an entity ID. Actually, it would be product ID, and then the pagination, and we also need to have a sort order for it. Then the product review will return. Okay. Product reviews. So what is the result? Okay, the resolver is a type of reviews, which is located here. Product reviews, and get entity reviews. So the main issue with this implementation currently is because of this method here that has different implementation on the review collection and the product review collection, and I'll probably have to either create a new method in one of the collections or alter one of them so they have the same logic, because currently it kind of it doesn't really help me. So going further, we have the resolver, and it will return an array of reviews which contain a review ID, entity ID, which was assigned, customer ID, this will be dropped, title, detail, nickname, the date that was created, and the ratings that are assigned to the review. And then the ratings are described by a rating object that will contain the rating name, the percentage of the vote, and the actual value of the vote that is described by values from 1 to 5, and the percent is values from 2020 to 0 to 100. To 20 to 100. With the 20 step. Okay. For this we have, for product page we're returning only approved reviews, and sorted by default, created date descending. Okay, this is it here. And then we can have a look at the actual implementation. So we have, this is this what we have here on the right panel is the query. So I queried the entity ID with the ID 6, and I got 2 votes. And just for an example, I'm just gonna run the mutation as well, and create a new review. Okay, so I have another review with the ratings assigned. Basically, the mutation returns a an object of type review. So I have an overview on what I have saved. Also, I think I need to put some other values in here, but I'll talk about it with one of you guys if I have any questions. So let's see.
Hey, for the technical people on the call, should we be using ID in this case to filter products, or should we be using something like SKU that's more storefront?
Well, we're going to change it to SKUs.
We are, okay.
Basically, from what I spoke with Alex, we're dropping anything that has IDs, and we're replacing it with SKUs and some other value that it can be used to extract the data. Here for ratings, for example, we're not going to use rating ID. We're going to use the rating name that is defined by the admin. And then based on the rating name, we're going to obtain the rating ID. And here for option ID, we're going to pass the value 1 to 5. And based on the rating ID and the value, we're going to obtain the option ID. This is going to be done in the background. So the customer can input, I mean, not the customer, the developer can input only values that he knows of. Doesn't have to query the database to obtain an ID or something like that.
Okay, great.
That's pretty much the logic here. As I said, I might need to change or add some data or methods in the core of the review module, but when I get to that, I will ask someone if it's okay, or we should do it some other in some other way. Yeah, session expired. Yeah, this is pretty much it. If you have any other questions, I'm open for it. And also another important thing. Sorry, I will drop the pull request for customer product reviews, and I will continue with only one pull request because it's kind of a pain to go back and forth to maintain both of them. If that's okay with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, and thank you for working with this. I suppose we'll have great API. And just a reminder for everybody, for now we are creating brand new GraphQL APIs, and we should try to focus on the experience first and don't look at existing implementation. And we should create interface which makes sense for developer and not necessarily look at how it is done right now, because current implementation not always makes sense.
Okay.
And also we should try to avoid usage of actual database IDs on storefront as much as possible.
Yeah, on that note, one more question actually that I have. So with this implementation, and maybe I missed this, but do we add a rating field to the product object as well as part of this?
A rating what?
A field that contains a product's rating, like if I fetch a product.
Okay, I understand. I understood the question. Well, I haven't thought about that, but I think it can be done. It just, I mean, for the listing part, it should be done for product listing and widgets, because there's no need to do a separate query to obtain them when you can have them on the same object. I mean, I should have the product interface extended and then pass along the rating data. And I'll just put some minimal data there, and if the developer wants to drag more data from the database, it's up to him. It's usually a bad idea to bring too much information on listing page.
Yeah, agreed. Totally agreed. But yeah, it would be good to extend product with this rating information, because I know that those are some of the few fields that we were missing currently on to render like a full PDP page.
Speaking of that, do you have a specific name for it, or should I just name it reviews or product?
I would keep the same names. I think what you had in the schema was good enough.
Okay.
But if you have a question, just hit me up on Slack and we can talk.
Sure.
Cool. Thank you.
Welcome. So this is it for my part.
Thank you, Valentin.
Welcome.
So guys, looks like that's all for today. So thank you for your contributions. Thank you for your great presentation. And maybe somebody else have some updates. No? Okay. So guys, see you next week.
Cool. Good work, everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening.
See ya.
Bye bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.